Okay guys, I'm back with a Project Life video. This is using my stash kit number 2. I have just 2 more spreads with this stash kit and they're both going to be Project Life. I love Project Life. It is my go-to. I just need to get better about taking photos. I don't have enough photos to really support Project Life on a weekly basis. I really wish I did, but either we're not that interesting or I'm really terrible at taking photos. I want to go with where I'm really terrible at taking photos. I mean, our lives are probably not that interesting, but I'm really bad about taking photos, and the photos I do take are just kind of candid iPhone photos or selfies, and they could be much, much better. So I'm trying to really make a conscious effort to get better at taking photos, and I think I'm going to start making an effort to scrapbook current photos on a weekly basis, because I think that's going to make me more aware of taking current photos instead of always trying to catch up on scrapbooking. I'm definitely going to continue to work on catching up on scrapbooking, but I think I'm just going to make a conscious effort to scrapbook current stuff, because it's going to keep me aware of how many photos I am or I'm not taking. And this week happened to be a week where I took a lot of photos. Now I do my Project Life in a monthly spread, but funny enough, all the photos in this spread happened in like a 2-day period. And so I was really good at that point in taking photos, and I wanted to make sure that I documented. So the top 2 photos and the right photo with Kaylin in the hoodie, that Ernest took Kaylin to see a Durham Bulls baseball game. It's baseball. It's a local baseball team. He took him to go see the Durham Bulls baseball game, and I think it was like Family Day or something like that, or Kids Day or something. So they went out and they enjoyed a baseball game while I was at work one day. And then the photo to the left in the middle row is a photo of me reading to Kaylin's preschool class. They would have parents sign up for different, or like every other Friday, and we could come in and read to the class, and the kids got to pick out their favorite book for their parent to come read. And Kaylin sat right next to me, like hanging onto my leg the whole time, watching his friends to see how they reacted to his book that he picked, instead of watching the book, because we had read it so many times already. I just thought it was a really sweet photo, having him sitting right next to me, watching his friends react to the story, and just kind of like being proud. I thought that was really cute. So had to put that in there. And then the bottom 3 photos, the 2 photos of Kaylin and then of Kaylin and myself, we went out to the farmer's market. It was an unusually warm day in March. These photos are from March of 2015. So it was an unusually warm day in March that day, and we had went to the gym, and then we had went to the farmer's market just to kind of pick a few things, see what they had, and just enjoy the weather. And then I had taken a screenshot of the weather app on my phone, which said it was 72 degrees. And again, in March, that's really warm, because we could have a blizzard, well, North Carolina's version of a blizzard anyways, in March, and then the next week be up to almost 80 degrees. And that was kind of what this week, or that month kind of was. So that was capturing the first warm day of the spring season, which wasn't even spring yet, but it was coming. It was coming. It was coming. It was coming. We could feel it coming, and that's where we were. So I've just taken my scraps from my paper collection and used a few of the Project Lifestyle cards that were left, and then also just cut up a few other little scrap bits to make some 3x4 3x4 cards. I am also going to use, well, I did not use it, but I pulled it out to use it, this word phrase thing, and I just was using my stamp block to rub out all the air bubbles that were in it, which is why you saw me like going crazy rubbing that sticker. I'm using just a little scrap piece that was on my desk that had some journaling lines on it, and I'm using it to write just a little bit of journaling about reading to the kids class. And then I'm just adding a few other little bits and pieces here. So as you notice, as I go through my scraps and bits that are sitting around, I usually take stickers and stick them out all around my layout and put them to the side, just so I can remember that, oh, I wanted to include that here, or I was thinking about putting this here. Now I do have a few little bits of yellow around the layout, so I pulled out some yellow, a yellow piece of paper. It was a My Mind's Eye piece of paper from my scrap bin just to mat this photo on. I keep my scrap bin pretty handy. It sits on top of a shelf kind of to the left of my desk, and then I have a little tiny bucket on the shelf under my desk with little tiny pieces of scraps. So anytime I need just a little bit of pink or a little bit of yellow, I look through my scrap bin just to see if there's anything that I can use. I try to do that before I really go to my stash because I want to use up my scraps. I of course keep everything, as I've mentioned multiple times, but I do want to make sure that I'm rotating through there, that those things are not just building. Making a filler card, and it says favorite time of year, and then I'm going to add on a rub-on, and this is where I'm going to use the rest of these rub-ons. I had 3 left, and I'm going to use all of them on this spread. And they're gold. It adds a different color to this layout, one that I hadn't really thought I was going to use, but the gold really kind of goes well with the yellow. It's not a real brassy gold, it's more of a yellowy, shiny gold. So it actually fits really well with the yellow bits and pieces that I have on this layout. Now, you're going to see me rub the crap out of these rub-ons because they weren't coming off very well, but it was really my last ditch effort to use them, and if it wasn't going to work, I was going to have to toss them. And I was really trying to make them work, and they work. They're not perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just you get the idea. You can see what it is. There's no question about it, and they work well on this layout. I'm going to use another one that says you and me up on the top left photo of Ernest and Kaylin, and then I'm going to use the little bow on the bottom card with right here with the weather. I really love Project Life. I feel like Project Life is your opportunity to do whatever you want to do. And if it doesn't work, you just throw it away and start over. Really, you could do that with any layout, but I feel like a layout, I commit a lot of time to do one 12 by 12 layout, whereas Project Life, you may spend a couple minutes on each card. So if you throw away a card, that's no big deal. It would hurt my heart a little bit more to throw away a 12 by 12 layout, but it's not impossible. I'm not opposed to doing that if I don't like it, but I love Project Life because you just, I don't know, it's fun. It's a bunch of little layouts that you put together, and you can include a bunch of different things on there. You can use a lot of embellishments. You can write all over it. It can be as messy as you want it to be or as clean as you want it to be. I kind of have my own particular style where I use white cards or white borders in all the 4x6 pockets, and then I use rounded corners in the middle row. I like to use small photos. I like to use 4x6 photos. I like to just mix in a bunch of different things. I don't always use Project Lifestyle products. I use a lot of paper scraps that I cut down to fit in the 3x4 pockets. I use lots of stickers and other types of things. I'm really not one to include a lot of not embellishments, a lot of dimensional embellishments. I like to have pretty flat elements, and if I do have a dimensional embellishment, a lot of times I'll stick it on the outside of the pocket. That just tells you a little bit about my style. My style has definitely evolved over time, and it was not something that I really had much thought put into. I just was watching, when I first started Project Life, I watched a ton of Project Life videos, and I just kind of developed what I thought looked nice, and it changes periodically as I, use different products and use old products, use new products. My style changes a little bit each and every time, but I think that's what's special about Project Life. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Ooh, guys, I have been invited to be a part of a blog hop in June, and I'm super excited about it. I can't give you any information other than keep an eye out because I will be part of a blog hop, which I think is really cool. It's the first one that I've been invited to join, and I was ecstatic. So keep an eye out for that because I cannot wait. It's going to be Project Lifestyle. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not telling you anything else. So stay tuned for that. Oh, I pulled out this I Am collection to try to use up some of those things. I mentioned this before, I believe, but when I first pulled out the kit, I couldn't figure out how to make these I Am embellishments fit because I didn't feel like it fit the color scheme of the rest of the kit that I have. And now I've really made a point to use them, and I actually think I've used more of them than I have anything else that's in this kit, which is kind of funny, but it just shows when you make a conscious effort to do something, you can make it happen. So I also tried to, as you can tell by this video, I work on the whole spread at one time. I jump around from card to card to card, um, from embellishment pack to embellishment pack. I don't have a whole lot of, like, I don't do one card and then move on to the next and then move on to the next. No, I do it all together. And I tried at one point to have just one card in the screen and tried to like zoom in on it so you guys could see it a little bit better, but it totally messes with my flow. I have to do all the cards together at the same time so I can kind of make sure that they coordinate a little bit. It does not have to be perfectly coordinated, but so that they coordinate just a little bit. The colors look good together. I have an even balance of different embellishments and things like that. But yeah, I can't do the one card thing. I thought I could. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. It prolonged the process a little bit more. All right, I'm just adding the final touches, the last little bits and pieces. See if there's anything else that could possibly work. I'm using some of these rhinestones, and funny enough, I said I don't use very dimensional products. I feel like these rhinestones are actually pretty dimensional. I mean, a lot of people are probably laughing at me because rhinestones aren't that dimensional, but to me, that's a dimensional product, and I don't put a lot of dimensional products in my pockets. I will on the outside of my pockets, just like I mentioned, or on my 12 by 12 spreads, but I don't do a whole lot on the Project Life spreads because I feel like it just makes the pockets look too bulky. So I'm being a rebel here and putting some rhinestones on this layout. Even though it's a dimensional product, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Oh, and I think Denise asked me if I hadn't done anything with the mini perler beads yet, and I have not. They're still sitting on my little shelf with, like in my little to-do pile to do something with them. But I want to melt those down because I feel like those would make awesome little embellishments. Awesome little perler beads. Gosh, enamel dots. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. I think they would make the perfect size of tiny enamel dots. Yeah, it's going to be kind of difficult because you have to make each one stand up on its end on a pan and then bake it and then take them all off. Now, taking them off is not that big of a deal because you just put it on parchment paper and you kind of like make your paper into a funnel and funnel it into a bag or whatever you're going to put them in. But yeah, making them all stand up on the pan is probably going to take me like an hour to do. And then if you bump it, it's like, oh, you have to start completely over. But I think it's worth it. You know how many enamel dots that I have made that, it took a couple hours initially, but I haven't made any in like 2 years now. And I still have a ton. So it's totally worth it. But anyways, this is going to complete the layout. I will add my journaling and you'll see it. You should see it in the ending photos, but let me know if anybody has any questions. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you. Bye.